Have you ever felt like life is moving all around you, but somehow you're not really part of it? You watch others make decisions. They take chances, build lives, fall down, get back up, and you stand there telling yourself, I'm just waiting for clarity, for timing, for a sign. But let's be honest. Deep down, there's a part of you that already knows the truth. You're not stuck. You're scared. You're scared to choose. Scared of making the wrong move. Scared of losing what you have, even if it isn't what you want. Scared that once you choose, there's no going back. And while you're standing still, everything else feels like it's pressing forward. Relentlessly. The people, the opportunities, the time, and you're left holding this strange weight. The weight of the decisions you haven't made. At first, it's subtle. A little discomfort, a faint whisper that says, you're meant for more. But as time goes on, the silence gets louder. You wake up feeling exhausted. Not because of what you've done, but because of what you keep postponing. No one notices. You smile. You show up. You perform. You check boxes. You look from the outside like someone who's doing fine. Maybe even thriving. But inside, it's different. Inside, there's a quiet storm of fear, hesitation, and questions you're afraid to answer. Søren Kierkegaard, the Danish philosopher who pioneered existentialism, once said that anxiety is the dizziness of freedom. And if you've ever stood at the edge of a real decision, one that could change everything, you felt that dizziness, that sudden vertigo that comes not from lack of options, but from the weight of having too many. You wonder, what if I choose wrong? What if I lose everything? What if I'm not enough?
So, you don't choose. You wait. You analyze. You fantasize about different futures without committing to any of them. You live in the in-between, in the illusion of safety. But indecision is not neutral. It's erosion. Quiet, invisible, constant. Each day you delay, a part of you grows heavier. The part that wonders, is this all there is? The part that aches to live fully but doesn't know how to begin. You convince yourself you're being wise. That caution is maturity. That timing just isn't right yet. But deep down, this isn't patience. It's fear. Fear of failure. Fear of judgment. Fear of change. Fear of facing yourself. Because choosing, truly choosing, requires something terrifying: responsibility. Not just for the outcome, but for the person you become as a result of your choice. Kierkegaard spoke of this agony. Not just the pain of suffering, but the deeper torment of being aware that you can choose and still refusing to. Because to choose means closing doors. It means letting go of other lives you could have lived. It means saying yes to one version of yourself and no to all the others. It means looking in the mirror and asking, who am I when I stop performing? Who are you when you're no longer trying to impress, to please, to be what others expect? That's what makes freedom so overwhelming. It strips away your excuses, and that is a sacred kind of pain. So what do most people do? They wait. They float. They put their dreams on layaway. Someday, they say, eventually, but someday becomes years. Eventually becomes never. And life keeps moving, because life was never meant to be lived in limbo. It was meant to be risked, to be messy, to be uncertain, and still deeply worth it. There's no perfect moment coming. No sign in the sky, no voice whispering, now's the time. You either leap, or or you don't. And that's what Kierkegaard called the leap of faith. Not a blind jump, but a conscious act of courage. An agreement with yourself that says, even if I don't know how it ends, I'm still going. Because to not leap is to lose yourself. Slowly, quietly, politely. You blend in, you stay safe, and you miss your life. Think about the decisions you've avoided, the conversations you haven't had, the dreams you've postponed, not because you didn't care, but because caring hurt. Because caring meant risking. And risking meant the possibility of failure, of embarrassment, of pain. But here's the truth. You're already in pain, not because of what's happening outside, but because of what you're avoiding inside. That ache you feel, that restlessness, that quiet sense that you were made for something deeper. That's not delusion. That's truth knocking on the door. And it's saying, wake up. You don't need more time. You need more courage. Because the cost of safety is your soul. Kierkegaard wrote, to dare is to lose one's footing momentarily. Not to dare is to lose oneself. How many times have you lost a part of yourself? Trying to stay grounded. Trying to stay in control. Trying to make everyone happy? How long have you been shrinking your truth to fit someone else's comfort? How many moments have passed where you silenced your voice because it was too much? How many dreams have you labeled unrealistic because they scared other people? You were not born to be a chameleon. You were born to live vividly, even if it makes others uncomfortable. And that requires daring, not recklessness, not impulse, but bold, intentional, heart-driven action. And it will be uncomfortable. You will feel fear. You might lose some things, some people, some familiar comforts, some false identities. But what you gain is you, the real you. The one who acts with integrity. The one who walks into the unknown without guarantees, but with grounded courage. That's the paradox. Fear doesn't go away when you choose, but you no longer serve it. You feel it and move anyway. Because every time you choose something real over something safe, you reclaim your power. Every time you face what scares you, instead of avoiding it, you become more whole. And that's the difference between surviving and living. You weren't born to just endure. You were born to engage. Fully, deeply, honestly. And that journey begins not with certainty, but with honesty. It begins with admitting, I'm afraid, and I'm tired of letting that stop me. It begins with choosing one small thing today that moves you closer to truth. Maybe it's a conversation. Maybe it's a decision you've avoided. Maybe it's walking away from something that's quietly been killing you. Whatever it is, let it be your yes. Not a perfect yes. Not a confident yes. Just a real one. Because your life won't change when you have less fear. It will change when you stop obeying fear. You're not broken because you feel anxious. You're not a failure because you've waited. You're just human. And you're learning how to live without hiding. And that is sacred. You see, the true pain of life isn't in choosing the wrong path. It's in never walking any path at all. It's in sitting on the sidelines of your own existence, waiting for a moment of absolute certainty that will never come. Because life doesn't offer guarantees. It offers growth. And growth is always uncomfortable. But you know what's worse than discomfort? Regret. That cold, quiet voice that whispers years from now, what could you become if you just tried? You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to say yes to the next right thing. Because once you start moving, even trembling, you break the spell of paralysis. You break the illusion that your fear is in control. And you begin to build something new, Not outside, but within. That is the journey of becoming. That is the path of freedom. And it starts the moment you choose. Not because you're fearless, but because you're finally free enough to be afraid. And still act. This isn't about perfection. It's about presence. This isn't about doing more. It's about becoming real. And the longer you wait, the louder life will whisper, there's more. There's always been more, and it's time you claimed it. So let this be the moment you say, I choose. I commit. I move. Not because I'm ready, but because I'm done waiting. And remember, the leap of faith is not about knowing. It's about trusting. Trusting that even if you fall, you'll learn to fly.